The two colleges that we've already seen were quite modern in their time, but one thing they did was to retain the medieval cloister pattern of the original university. And what we're going to see now is two 19th century establishments, Downing College and Pembroke College, who broke decisively with the medieval cloister pattern, both in a very distinctive way. They were founded in the early and mid 19th century. That is, Pembroke College was one of the oldest colleges, perhaps the second to be founded, but it was a shell really until the mid-19th century, so to some extent it's a Victorian establishment. But the thing to note is how radically these 19th century colleges broke with the medieval cloister pattern, which was subsequently restored in 20th century developments. Downing College was founded in the early 19th century, and I think its spirit and style reflect the confidence of the people who later became the Victorians and took over the world. What's remarkable to me is several things. It's that the relationship between height and internal space is very generous. It's not closed at all, and in order to enhance this sense of openness, they left the fourth side of the court open. What was originally intended and did exist was a view of the Gog-Magog hills, which lie to the south of Cambridge, and as an act of bureaucratic terrorism in the 20th century, the university built the engineering faculty to close off the view. I suppose it was a kind of revenge against the despotism of the colleges. But anyway, current members of this place don't have the sense of being opened up that once existed here. I also think, I don't know, others might comment, that there's something about the style of the architecture that evokes Jefferson's University of Virginia. I have to say that I think it's quite the most beautiful court in Cambridge, if only for the fact that it celebrates openness rather than closure. Is one of the oldest foundations in Cambridge, but it was very poor and more or less abandoned for centuries until it was revived in the 19th century, in the mid-19th century, more or less at the same time as some of the great provincial universities like Manchester and Leeds were established. And the architecture shares quite a bit with these provincial establishments. But again, what is remarkable is that in extending the college, Pembroke decided to break once more with the medieval cloister pattern. And what they did was to extend in this building here in a line, which then kind of closes off a three-sided space, the other side being formed by the remnants of the old college, and they filled that space with gardens, quite pretty and interesting in their own right. So again, I mean, there's nothing about this that evokes the closure of the court pattern on which Cambridge colleges were originally established. And I think it speaks to the confidence of the Victorians in their ability to break with that pattern. What you've got here are three different periods of building. Probably a 15th century building there. This chapel, obviously a 17th or 18th century establishment, followed by this Victorian extension, all within a very narrow space, which is quite typical of Cambridge colleges. This is the original building of the college, although many aspects of this building were restored much later. This is probably the surviving remnant of the medieval college, which I believe was the second establishment. It's very close to the first, which we will be seeing next, which is Peterhouse across the street.